Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just dive right into the, frankly, absurd reality of how things go completely off the rails in software development. If you've spent any time around project management or tech, you know that building a product from scratch is almost never a straight line, right? Today, we're unpacking the core concepts of agile software development, figuring out exactly why traditional methods so often set us up for failure, and looking at how just flipping our perspective on change can literally rescue our projects.
Section 1. The software development problem. Okay, let's talk about how a totally simple customer request for a tire swing somehow morphs into a completely unworkable design as it gets passed down the chain of command. I mean, the progression here is just crazy. The customer explains a simple swing with 3 planks, but by the time the project leader actually understands it, boom, it's a single plank. Then the analyst designs it by cutting the tree trunk right in half, which, completely defies gravity. Next, the programmer writes it as a rope tied around the trunk, entirely unusable, and the business consultant? Oh, they describe it as this luxurious armchair hanging in the sun. It's like a giant game of telephone where every single step introduces a whole new layer of misunderstanding.
And then you get this massive disconnect at the absolute end of the project. After documenting basically nothing and installing just a sad, dangling rope, the customer gets slapped with a bill for a massive, multi-loop roller coaster. And what do they actually need all along? Just a simple tire hung from a branch. It's a funny, classic example for sure, but man, it hits the nail on the head regarding a deeply painful truth about traditional project workflows. We end up building these grand, wildly expensive roller coasters when the user literally just wanted a tire swing.
So, what does this all mean? Well, ultimately, this exact type of miscommunication is why we see a staggering 70% failure rate for software projects. Think about that for a second. 70%! That is massive. This failure is driven by missed timelines, crazy budget overruns, and ultimately just not delivering what customers actually asked for. When the end product doesn't match the actual need, all the time and money spent developing it is essentially wasted.
Section 2. Agitating the pain. Traditional methods versus change.
Now, let's talk about how traditional waterfall methods shoot straight for what they think is the target up front, completely missing the actual evolving goal as requirements change over time. With waterfall development, you basically have to lock in your trajectory at the very beginning of the project. But here's the thing, as time passes, the real target moves. An evolutionary, incremental approach allows you to adjust your aim continuously, ensuring you actually hit the bullseye when it really counts.
And this reveals a pretty painful truth. Traditional methods aggressively resist change, which causes costs to exponentially skyrocket over time when compared to an agile approach. In a traditional model, if a client suddenly wants a change late in the game, it's a total nightmare. It requires tearing down the foundation to rebuild, which is incredibly expensive. But by welcoming change throughout the entire timeline, Agile keeps the cost of those changes relatively flat and totally manageable.
So the crucial point here is that plan-driven development inherently embeds these risky assumptions early on that aren't actually validated until much, much later. Agile, on the other hand, minimizes assumptions and validates them quickly so you can easily recover from mistakes. Traditional planning tries to eliminate uncertainty up front by writing these massive, sprawling requirement documents, but that just leaves you completely blind to the unknown unknowns. Agile tackles uncertainty simultaneously. If you make a bad assumption, you're going to figure it out in days or weeks, not at the absolute end of a multi-year project when it's way too late to fix.
Section 3. What is agility? The solution.
We define agility simply as the ability to both create and respond to change, whether that's in requirements, technology, or teams, rather than fighting it. The absolute key phrase here is profiting in a turbulent environment. We aren't just surviving the chaos, we're actively turning shifting requirements and technological advancements into a real competitive advantage.
It's a philosophy driven by early incremental delivery, overall simplicity, and active daily face-to-face collaboration between developers and users to ensure customer satisfaction. It's really about breaking down the walls between the people who actually need the software and the people building it. You want working software delivered in weeks, not months, and you want to build projects around motivated individuals that you can actually trust to get the job done.
And these ideas build into several core principles, like eliminating waste, building quality in from the start, delivering fast, and trusting self-organizing teams. Deferring commitment is a really fascinating one here. It basically means waiting to make crucial decisions until you have the absolute most information possible, rather than just guessing at the start line. And above all, respecting people and creating a system where knowledge is continuously shared. Section 4. Iterative and incremental development.
First up is iterative development, which is a planned rework strategy, kind of like building a prototype, to acquire knowledge and improve the product as it's being built. Instead of trying to paint a perfect masterpiece on the very first try, you sketch the outline, then you add some color, then you add the finer details. You use multiple passes to continually converge on the absolute best solution.
Second is incremental development, which means breaking the product down into much smaller pieces so you can build some of it, learn how it survives out in the real environment, and test it before building the whole thing. It is literally just build some of it before you build all of it. Think of it like this. If you're building a car, you don't build the whole chassis and wait a year for the engine. You might start by delivering a skateboard, then a scooter, then a bicycle, learning exactly what the user actually values at each step along the way.
And this brings us to the sprint cycle, where you integrate and test a valuable increment, get rapid feedback, and quickly pivot your features for the next sprint. By the end of a sprint, you absolutely must have a valuable product increment that is fully integrated and tested, not just half-done code. This allows you to hand it right to the client, get their real-world feedback, and adjust your plans for the very next cycle. It's built-in course correction.
Section 5. Delivering organizational value.
Agile sets expectations early, delivering massive value through competitive differentiation and enhanced customer loyalty. And honestly, if a project isn't going to be a success, you find out early enough to cancel it and save a ton of money. This is a massive point. Failing fast is a feature, not a bug. Agile releases the most valuable features first, so even if the project budget is cut halfway through, you've already delivered the absolute most critical revenue-generating tools to your business.
To truly thrive, you really need all three types of success working in perfect harmony. Because without personal success, you lose motivation. Without technical success, your code collapses. And without organizational success, your team is no longer wanted. Agile balances all three. It empowers developers personally, demands technical excellence so the code doesn't collapse under its own weight, and ensures the organization actually profits from the whole effort.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder for your own future work. Will your next project embrace change or resist it? We've seen the crazy roller coasters that get built when we stubbornly stick to old plans, and we've seen how keeping costs low and values high depends entirely on our ability to pivot. The choice is yours. Keep adapting, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.